Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This time for the obligatory report from my RideLondon event. The day was such a fantastic experience riding on empty roads. The only sad event of the whole day was at the end. My friend Sam had already arrived. He went to the toilet, to the public toilets arranged at the end, left the bike outside together with millions of other bikes, and came out and the bike got stolen. So it was really such a sad end for my friend Sam. This is the picture of the bike, and let's hope to find it and give it back to the rightful owner. I have here my Velo build, still kitted out with the race livery. Yes, not only the McLaren and the sponsor, but also the race tag for the event. And I want to discuss a few technical aspects and a bike fit aspect that somehow had influenced maybe my ride. I'm not sure whether to point to the bike fit, to the nutrition, to my training. So yes, this is what I want to discuss with you today. Having done Mallorca with my Canyon, it felt only appropriate to do the RideLondon with my Velo build. Also, the terrain is not that hilly, it's just a nice rolling road. This seemed really the perfect weapon for the event. The bike performed very well. It was unbelievably fast, especially at the beginning, and I think it was the right choice for the type of road that we were going to face. I set off from southwest London at 5 o'clock with 3 other friends, and we rode to the event, adding about 10 miles, 15 kilometers to the whole journey. The whole entry area was perfectly organized, and we waited up until our load time about 6:15, 6:30, can't remember. And it was a bit chilly at the beginning, lots of cyclists everywhere, because they were going to let off people in small groups, which was maybe the best decision to allow a very spread out race for everyone, avoiding big chunk of cyclists gathering up together. I set off with my saddlebag with 2 TPU tubes, 2 CO2 cans, and 2 small bottles of water, just water inside. I don't know whether that was the good decision or not. I'm still stuck with these small bottles. I might need to end up going a bit larger, because I didn't want to stop, and I didn't stop, and I'm not sure whether the water I carried with me was enough or not. I ended up with no water about maybe 10 miles to the finish. Wasn't a struggle, but maybe I could have done a bit better in this aspect. Food-wise, I had 2 SIS gel and 3 Decathlon bars, date energy nuts, which again, nothing fancy. I know that in the comments maybe you will point out that I could have chosen a better nutrition plan, but I felt it was good, and I didn't feel hungry up until the very end. And I was, for the first part of the event, really happy. The bike felt fantastic. I was flying out. Maybe it was the buzz of the event, maybe it was, yes, the atmosphere. I felt extremely strong. In terms of the strategy, there were a lot of groups forming, and I didn't jump early on a group and stay with them. I ended up instead going ahead, sometimes charging in front, and I turned around, there was like maybe 10 or 15 people following me. Next time I would actually be a little bit better at the beginning and not pushing that hard. The Velo build felt so good. I guess maybe, yes, the aerodynamics at that speed really played a part. And the gearing, the new 53 chairing I put in the front, feels fantastic. Every pedal stroke you put down, it propels the bike forward. And especially downhill, you feel you do have an advantage with other people that seems to have spun out the gearing, and I could go really fast. On the roads, organization, perfect again. You could see ambulances, the restoration point, steward everywhere, everything nicely laid out. Being my first time on such an event, my first aim was actually not to crash. I was riding really aware of everyone around, not taking any risks, and I'm glad that I came back in one piece. That's why I didn't bring my GoPro. I didn't want to be distracted in filming, so I'm such a bad YouTuber in this respect, because yes, I wanted really to focus on the event and riding in the safest possible way. I'm also happy that I didn't have any mechanicals. Bike shifted perfectly well. Before the ride, I had the bike checked at Bicycle. my favorite workshop, and they set up the gearing and it didn't miss a single bit. Yes, very well done, guys. Everything was going really well up until I started to see on my Wahoo that the full distance traveled was reaching 120 kilometers, about 74 miles from the start. Because I added 15 kilometers, 10 miles from my house to the event, on the ride I was almost about 60 miles in, and I never ridden that such a long distance without stopping, because even if you go for a big ride, 120, 140 kilometers, usually you stop for lunch and there's time to recover and start the other leg. And yeah, things started to go wrong and I started to feel cramping in my legs, which was really annoying because yes, everything else started to ache, but it was fully manageable. Muscle fatigue wasn't really there, but the cramps started to hit. I had to slow down, try to recover. I lost the fast group I was with, and that's where things started to go not in the right direction. Yes, I felt cramps only in this part of the leg, this inside area here. So same part hit on both legs, and the moment you have the leg maybe on top of the pedal and you push down, that section was becoming really painful. And I slowed down, and especially in the descent I stopped pedaling for the moment to try to recover, and it worked. So I did another burst, another fast group passed, I jumped on them and I could stay with them for a while. Then when another gradient came out, tried to push and stay with them, cramps hit again and I had to slow down to recover. I didn't stop at all, but yes, towards the end it became quite painful. I really could not wait to hit Tower Bridge and the finish line. I arrived in a bit of a desperation mode in 4 hours and 26 minutes, which, all things considered, is not a bad time for the first time, knowing all the mistakes I made. So I was really happy. At the same time, I was a bit annoyed because the cramps were not expected. I didn't experience them in Mallorca when actually I pushed a lot harder on the hills. And there's a question mark then that I need you to help me out in answering. My position on the velo build is very similar to the one I have on my Canyon, but not exactly the same. And maybe this could have helped in adding a bit more strain on a different group of muscle because of the slight difference in how I hit the pedals. The top tube of the velo build is ever so slightly longer. I push the saddle forward, but still I'm not as centered as I am on my Canyon. I don't feel any discomfort when I ride the velo build up until maybe 100 kilometers, 60 miles. Those sort of rides I can push as hard as I can. Yes, at the end of the ride I felt, if I now remember, some cramps, but I just said, well, it's the end of the ride. I didn't pay that much attention. But maybe the fact that the Canyon's got a slightly steeper seat tube angle, a little bit more centered on top of the bottom bracket, that might have caused this slight different activation in the muscle group between the two bikes. Second aspect maybe, well, it's just the distance. I'm old and the cramps more or less are the price to pay for these long efforts at my age. That could be one of the answers, and I hope you won't agree with that. Or maybe it's down to the water, nutrition, that I could have planned better, adjusting the effort in the beginning. That would allow me to not have cramps in the second part of the race. I'm not sure. Overall, it was a great event. I'm happy with the timing. Just this small debilitating aspect from the cramps got me a bit annoyed, and I'm going to concentrate on how to avoid this in the next long rides I'm going to make. If you do have any strategies, whether it is food, drink and position, I would love to hear. Yes, this is the first time I'm not the one trying to dispense knowledge and based on my experience, but yes, I admit in this very long ride I need to learn a lot. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you to the next video. Ciao.